Hello, and welcome to this video. In this video, I am going to be, once again, having to explain what logic is and what reason is to those people who claim to be followers of William Branham. And I'm going to be going through a small tour of history and showing you exactly what those other people said that William Branham copied. Now, I understand that there are those who were born into message families and grew up in them as children. And it is to those that I really feel that you should be shown some greater leeway because you didn't know. You were never exposed to anything else. There were some who, through their naivete or ignorance of religion, went into the message. Now, there are those who are message preachers who stand in the pulpit every Sunday or whatever, who consistently preach without knowledge exactly where William Branham got his revelation from. So let's get started right away in what nullifies him as a prophet, because he certainly was not a prophet. We start now. Muhammad claimed to have been given a commission by an angel, Jibril. Joseph Smith claimed to have been given a commission by an angel, Moroni. William Branham claimed to have been given a commission by an angel, unnamed. But yet, this angel apparently gave him the same commission on 3 separate occasions in 3 separate places. And Branham said it was the time. Okay, you understand that? He claims one commission by one angel, and then he claims that the commission was given later in a different place, and then the commission was given in a third place. So, if you are basing him as a prophet because he claimed to have an angel commission him, then you would have to ask yourself if Muhammad and Joseph Smith also had commissions by angels. In fact, the Quran and the Hadiths state that only Muhammad saw the angel, that it beat him up. Joseph Smith claims the angel Moroni gave him the golden tablets to translate. But in all these instances, there was no one to verify anything about an angel. Nothing. In fact, Muhammad would say to his followers while they were sitting and talking, "Look, do you see Jibril? He's here right now." Branham would say to people in the churches, "Look, the angel's right here right now. Do you see him?" Why would they be asking you, their followers, if you could see their angel? there were no angels. Now, Joseph Smith, and I think that there are message believers who have never been exposed to the people that I'm talking about. And so I may have to just explain who they are to you. Muhammad was the founder of Islam. Joseph Smith was the founder of Mormonism. Branham quoted and taught things that Muhammad and Joseph Smith said. Now, let me explain that to you again. William Branham directly taught things that Muhammad said and things that Joseph Smith said. Other things that you may be interested in. Muhammad claimed that he was a prophet because he said so. Joseph Smith claimed he was a prophet because he said so. Branham claimed he was a prophet because he said so. Notice the pattern. He's imitating Muhammad and Joseph Smith. Not only that, he many times quoted Joseph Smith from the Book of Mormon. So, who said it first? Now, you may say that Satan has a copy of the original. Branham came after Muhammad and Joseph Smith. Therefore, which one of those was the original? Let's look at some more. By the way, the Quorum of 12 in Mormonism and the entire leadership of the Mormon Church all call themselves prophets. Muhammad claimed to be the last prophet. Joseph Smith and Brigham Young claimed to be the last prophet. John Alexander Dowie claimed to be the last prophet. Charles Taze Russell of Jehovah's Witnesses claimed to be the last prophet. John Alexander Dowie had founded the Zion Church that William Branham attended and gave a sermon in, where he told all of those followers that he was prophesied by Dowie to the day. Yet nothing in Dowie's writings, nothing in Dowie's sermons made that statement. Nothing. And if you really want to find something interesting about the Zion, Illinois Church, it was attended by F.F. Bosworth, who was friends with Charles Parham and John Lake. F.F. Bosworth of Dowie's church became friends with William Branham. So, who said it first? Dowie or Branham? If Dowie said it first, then it isn't special revelation. It isn't divine vindication. Okay, moving on. Charles Taze Russell, who was head of the founder of Jehovah's Witnesses, claimed to be the last prophet and claimed to be the messenger of the Laodicean age. William Branham claimed to be messenger of the Laodicean age. Muhammad claimed to be the messenger, and that is what Muslims call Islam. They call it the message. And they call him the messenger. And there was a movie in the 1970s called the messenger about Muhammad. But Branham based teachings on Islam and Mormonism through polygamy. Yes, that's right. In Africa, Branham said that polygamy was biblical. In fact, that very concept is what led to the death of Joseph Smith. He was killed during a riot while trying to escape from jail because he provoked a war with the federal government and state militias, and he had an army over the issue of polygamy. And the Mormons had to agree with the federal government that they would denounce polygamy in order to become a state. But Branham taught polygamy as taught by Joseph Smith and Muhammad. They came before him. No divine vindication nor special revelation. Okay. And the founder of the Millerite movement, he claimed to be, you got it, the last prophet. In fact, he predicted the end of the world several times, and none of those times did it happen. This is known as the Great Disappointment, and this is where Ellen G. White originated the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So, William Branham not only quoted Larkin, he quoted Muhammad, he quoted Joseph Smith, he quoted Charles Taze Russell, and this Miller, Ellen G. White. He quoted every one of those. He taught something from every one of those. So, if you are by now saying to me that Satan has a copy of the original, Branham was after all of these people. Do you understand? He was after all of those people. So Branham is not the original. Therefore, if you say that Satan has a copy of the original, then you have to point it at William Branham and say maybe perhaps that comes from Satan. But we will see in a little bit just how close to Satanism his message really was. David Koresh also claimed to be the last prophet. Muhammad perverted the Torah, Zohar, Midrash, and the Christian Bible. In fact, the Quran is made from all of those. Any verse that you read in the Quran comes from one of those sources previously. So, in his polygamy message, Branham quoting from Islam about that and Joseph Smith about that, Branham was not the original. They were. Joseph Smith perverted the Christian Bible. In fact, Joseph Smith, in his very early days, his statement was that all denominations are evil. That is why he created his own. William Branham says all denominations are evil. Again, quoting and teaching from Joseph Smith of Mormonism. So in essence, you are being taught Mormonism. Joseph Smith declared that he interpreted the golden tablets that Moroni showed to him, but they are buried somewhere in New York. Branham mentions the Book of Mormon, but he calls it the Mormon Book of the Gospel. And in his writings, right, Joseph Smith actually had the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which was common in those days, because in those days, very wealthy people used to get Egyptian artifacts and mummies and things like that, and tablets with hieroglyphics on it. And he had a copy of the Egyptian Book of the Dead that he says was the Book of Abraham. This is in the Book of Mormon. Oh, by the way, if you do not believe me, you may write or call the Mormons and ask them for the Book of Mormon, and they will send you one for free. So no golden tablets whatsoever, and translated the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which is important for you to understand later. John Alexander Dowie, he perverted the Christian Bible in order to make himself be the Elijah restorer. And he dressed up in what he thought was ancient priest garb. Why? This started the whole Sacred Namers movement, and Michael Rood is a beneficiary of that teaching. Miller and Ellen G. White, they both perverted the Christian Bible as well and created their own cult of Seventh-day Adventism, with 3 different dates of when the world would end. Branham not only perverted the Christian Bible, but he also quoted from the Book of Mormon, the Peshitta, the emphatic diaglot that he mentions by name. The emphatic diaglot was translated by a Christadelphian who denies the divinity of Jesus Christ. Therefore, if you quote anything from Branham that he says is in the emphatic diaglot, you are in essence agreeing with Christadelphians who came before Branham. He also quoted from literature from the Watchtower Society of the Mormons. He quoted writings from the Rosicrucians, including Egyptian mythology. He also quoted from KKK literature. He preached sermons that are found in literature of the Ku Klux Klan. He also quoted writings from Aleister Crowley. And as I said, he also quoted and plagiarized word for word Clarence Larkin. Muhammad taught serpent seed, saying not only were the Jews snakes, children of snakes, that they were also turned into pigs, rats, and monkeys. That was the serpent seed to Muhammad. Some Jewish Kabbalists taught serpent seed, saying that it was Gentiles. Joseph Smith taught serpent seed, saying that it was blacks and the mark of Cain. Charles Taze Russell said that he was messenger of the Laodicean age. We've already covered that. Now, Russell said it before Branham. So who is more original there? Russell or Branham? Charles Taze Russell predicted the end of the world in 1917. And when it didn't happen, they said that, oh no, that's when Christ took his throne and became the invisible ruler of an invisible empire on earth, the kingdom. See, this is what happens when predicted prophecies of the end of the world doesn't happen. The Jehovah's Witnesses also say that Michael was Christ. William Branham said Michael was Christ. again, if you are saying that Branham was original and got divine inspiration, he was repeating what Russell said. Therefore, who came first, Russell or Branham? Now, of all of these people that I have quoted so far, if you say that any of them are false, but Branham directly quoted from them, that means that Branham directly quoted false people as part of his teaching. And then when you repeat that, you are indirectly quoting those false people. So by default, Branham is false. Do you understand? Branham quoted directly those other people that came before him, not divine revelation, directly quoted. And when you indirectly quote them through Branham, you are quoting a false statement made by those previous people if you say that they are false. But if you say that Branham is true when he quoted these people, then you're going to have to say that they are true. And if you say that they are true, then you're going to have to agree to their heresies and false doctrines, and even the Satanism of Albert Pike and Aleister Crowley, because he directly quoted both of them. Okay, Muhammad taught that Jesus was not divine and did not die on the cross and was not resurrected. Again, that's also taught by the Christadelphians. Oh, and also Christian Science, which he actually commends as being the closest to having all the fruits of the Spirit. So if he says they are the closest and he directly quotes them, that means that you have to agree. You have to agree with the Christian Scientists. Not only that, the Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Islam. Charles Taze Russell. Oh, Joseph Smith. I forgot this. Joseph Smith taught that Satan was the brother of Jesus. Now, if you say that he's false, if you say Joseph Smith is false, and yet consistently William Branham has quoted Joseph Smith, then William Branham was quoting a false statement. And if you say William Branham was true after quoting these men, then you have to say that Joseph Smith was true. Charles Taze Russell taught that Satan was the co-creator with God. William Branham taught that Satan was the co-creator with God. Therefore, again, he's directly quoting Jehovah's Witness doctrine. Ellen G. White taught pyramidology. Also did Charles Taze Russell, William Branham, Aleister Crowley, Rosicrucians, Albert Pike. He taught that in Dogmas and Morals of Freemasonry, which you can find free on Gutenberg.org. All you have to do is go to Gutenberg.org, do the search for Dogmas and Morals or Albert Pike, and you can download that for free. But yet Albert Pike and Aleister Crowley were also Satanists. Aleister Crowley not only taught pyramidology. You see, that statement that the pyramids are a Bible, that is a direct quote from Charles Taze Russell. He didn't just get that by revelation. That was a direct quote from Charles Taze Russell. And also the teaching of the pyramids found in Rosicrucianism was taught by Aleister Crowley. And if you don't know who Aleister Crowley is, let me explain. He is known as the most famous Satanist ever. He was a warlock, and even among satanic circles, they call him the most evil man that ever lived. Yet William Branham directly quotes his teaching. Therefore, if you agree with William Branham, you are agreeing to the Satanism of Aleister Crowley. How do you know this? How do I know this? And how should you know this? Well, because he said that the zodiac was a Bible. And he taught numerology, which are two things forbidden in the Bible for a Christian. Both of those. And when he said that the zodiac was a Bible in the sky, that is called astrotheology. Astrotheology, also taught by Madame Blavatsky of the Theosophical Society. Kabbalism. Now understand this, not all Jews agree with Kabbalism. It's called Jewish mysticism. Not all Jews agree with that. And it's only a small portion of a certain small group of people who are Jewish, who practice Kabbalah. In fact, the Kabbalah that is being taught to all these celebrities is not the real Kabbalah. But if you say that you agree with the zodiac in the sky, you're agreeing with Aleister Crowley, who was a Satanist. And he was in the Order of the Golden Dawn and a Rosicrucian. Jordan Maxwell today and Mark Passio both teach astrotheology. So if you don't know what astrotheology is simply looking at the zodiac to interpret Bible passages. And that is forbidden because it's witchcraft. It is called witchcraft in the Bible. Therefore, if you believe in astrotheology, which is the zodiac in the sky, as a Bible, you are practicing witchcraft. Joseph Smith taught Egyptian mythology. Like I said, he had mummies. They actually bought a mummy. Him and his group, small group, before they went out west, actually bought a mummy. And he said that he translated this writing, which became the Book of Abraham. Yes, he taught Egyptian mythology. Aleister Crowley taught Egyptian mythology as a Satanist and as a Rosicrucian, and as a member of the Theosophical Society, along with Madame Blavatsky. Ellen G. White taught Egyptian mythology. Anytime that you hear about this pyramid, the teaching about the headstone, that is from Egyptian mythology. Because nowhere in the Bible does it say anything about that top piece of the pyramid. So, when William Branham tells you that that's what it is, the top of the pyramid, he's quoting Albert Pike. He's quoting Charles Taze Russell. He's quoting Aleister Crowley directly. So whenever you preach that, you are indirectly making the same statement of these people. Now, I'm sure by now that you're probably saying that you don't want to hear any more of this because you finally get the idea. But you can't agree with me even though you know it's true. So, message preachers, it's now falling on you. Are you going to continue quoting Branham and making those indirect satanic statements, because that's exactly what Aleister Crowley taught. Branham taught Egyptian mythology. And in his sermons about the eye of God is actually the eye of Horus, Egyptian mythology. So if you want to continue to indirectly quote, then you're going to have to concede that Horus is a real god and Osiris is real. I'm not sure that you want to continue doing that. Ellen G. White's husband is buried under a pyramid. Charles Taze Russell is buried under a pyramid. Branham is buried under a pyramid. The KKK taught the actual words in KKK, Ku Klux Klan literature, is that their criterion is Christ. And William Branham repeats it in that exact wording. And then proceeds to deliver sermons based on exactly what is found in Ku Klux Klan literature. So we've gone down through this whole list of these different people who came before William Branham, that he directly, get this, directly quotes and teaches from. That means no divine revelation if he directly quotes. See, we can say plagiarized, right? But plagiarism is a direct quote. So he directly quoted them. And you, if you say Branham said this, then you are indirectly quoting these same people. And I'm not sure if you want to proceed with doing that. Because in essence, you have been indirectly teaching Satanism through Aleister Crowley. You have been teaching Egyptian mythology through Madame Blavatsky, Aleister Crowley, Charles Taze Russell, Ellen G. White. All of those. So if you say Branham was true in his direct quotes, then you're going to have to say that all those people he quoted were true. But if you say that they are false, then by default, Branham is false. Because he made direct quotes, made it part of his own theology. And his followers were none the wiser, because they did not know about all of these other things and all of these people who came before him. So when I say that this reference is made to some fraudulent event, well, he says that he did that, but it was somebody else doing that, those are minor compared to this. So do you understand? You need to go through the sermons, and you need to see which ones that he quoted that were from Albert Pike, the Ku Klux Klan, Aleister Crowley, if you don't want to be perceived as a Satanist. But as it stands right now, the doctrines of Aleister Crowley that Branham quoted makes you a Satanist by default, because you are preaching that exact same thing. So you don't have to challenge me and tell me that I'm wrong, when it is clearly evident that you don't even understand your own message. You don't even know where it originated. You don't know the quotes of these people. You don't know what these other people taught. All you heard was, believe me because I say so. Why do you think he said, don't question? Because if you were smart, you would know where he was getting his teaching from. And thank you for watching.